Towards service. Call this meeting to order. This is the Fairhaven Shade Tree Commission meeting meeting for March 6, 2024. Sunshine Law Notice. This is the regular meeting of the Shade Tree Commission of the Borough of Fairhaven. In accordance with the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, public meetings may be held in person or by means of communication equipment to include streaming services and other online meeting platforms. This meeting is being held in person and through the Zoom platform being broadcast through Borough Hall, 748 River Road, Fairhaven, New Jersey. Public participation for this meeting on March 6, 2024 is available by call-in phone number or through Zoom. Members of the public will be on mute until it is time for questions, comments, which will be announced. At that time, the public has the opportunity to question, comment by phone or through Zoom by the raise hand button and will be called on at the appropriate time. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and Star Ledger on January 26, 2024, posted on the Borough website, the bulletin board, in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. With adequate notice having been given, the Shade Tree Commission Secretary is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting. Christie, would you like to do roll call?
Chris Larson,
Here.
Mike D'Angelo.
Here.
Leah Begani,
Here.
Peter DeGotti,
Here.
Mike Hoey.
Here.
Chris McCabe. Kevin McGovern,
Here.
Jill Sullivan.
Here.
Bonnie Tercivia is absent. Also present, Councilman Olson and Borough Secretary Christy Larson. You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right, you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody get a chance to look over the prior meeting minutes. Second, all right, let's move into business project updates. Let's start off the NJUCF tree inventory grant update.
Okay, so since last meeting, where we left it is that we were pending a demo with our top vendor, Arbor Pro, with Nick Paczynski and Dave Carl. And we've since have done that. And the feedback, general feedback was that that they thought that this would be a useful tool. However, they were concerned about the management, like, of it, who was going to be responsible. So there's been a little bit of back and forth between myself and Christy, Teresa, Rich, Nick, Josh, the whole, it's expanded.
Okay.
Yes, but, and to be clear, the expectation would be that, the staff, borough staff would be managing this software. However, I think once we get in there, what they will find, and hopefully, I mean, I should say, hopefully they will find, is that it would become easier to do, easier to use than what the current process is of managing just risk trees on an Excel spreadsheet. This is cloud-based software, and basically what should happen in best practice is that as maintenance is done on site, for example, a limb is trimmed off of a tree, the person that cut that limb off the tree with their phone in hand would be able to go onto the map that they would locate them right away. They'd say, you know, pick this tree, I cut a limb off the tree, sign their name, and it's done. And that populates into our maintenance records. And then there would be no need for that person to go back to Borough Hall and report back to Nick or whomever is managing that spreadsheet to say, yes, I cut the limb off this tree, and then that person have to go in and say, limb was cut off the tree. And I think, you know, the most important part of this whole project and the use of this asset management tool is really that we're looking at the inventory as a whole proactively, being able to plan for maintenance and plan for, you know, looking at our canopy as a whole, the health of the canopy, the diversity of the canopy, and not just reacting to problems. So I think that that's like, you know, if that message wasn't clear before, I just putting it out there now, that is the goal of using this software. The good news is that, like I mentioned last time, is that the first year of the software is free. So if it's a disaster, oh, there's no money lost there, and, you know, we could make a different decision go forward. But you know, the requirement to have a tree inventory is something that we need in order to remain accredited, and I can't imagine that that is going to go away. So once we have it, we need to maintain it. And again, the hope being that it would become a tool that would ease the burden of time on the staff. Yeah. So with that said, I would like to call to a vote if possible, for us to approve, to recommend to council, Arbor Pro. There is a copy of the proposal, if you want to see it here.
Thank you.
By far, this was the best proposal that we received, in terms of cost per tree that they would inventory. With this proposal here, they would reach 2,600 trees. They would include a year of the software. They would actually do the summary report for us, which is something that was not included with the other proposal. It was something that Christy and I were going to try and do ourselves, or get Shari involved. So that's very nice. And subsequent years, the price per year of the software from year 2 onward is less expensive than other proposals we received. And like apples for, you know, the software itself, there's not a huge difference between the functionality. So all in all, this would be my recommendation, that this is the program, the company that I would recommend to do the inventory. They can do it within our time frame of the grant, which is also important. And it provides the software, the management software that we were looking for. So. Any questions?
Excellent.
Chair, can I have a couple questions? What's the cost of it?
We have a grant for $15,000, and this is $14,950.
So there's 14,950.
That's to do the inventory and the first year of the software. You know,
Thank you.
the yearly subscription after that is $2,750, and then if you committed beyond 1 year, there's a discount per year. So 20% discount at 3 years and 20% discount at 5 years.
So your subscription 2,750, and the you said to remain accredited. What accreditation is that?
With the urban and community forestry. So we need that for like insurance purposes, to be a Tree City USA. Have our management plan approved.
It's how we take all our CEUs.
What's the CEU?
Maintaining their community credits.
Yeah,
You need it for future grants too, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's
Do you
pretty
know,
important.
I know that over a certain threshold, I think it's 7,000 or 8,000, there has to be a couple of bids. It sounds like you had another one.
I have another one, yeah,
Yeah, okay. So you've got. two
another one
bids.
on paper. Yeah, it's for the same $15,000, except it only was doing 1,000 trees.
Right. Yeah, I'll also have to check with, I'm learning there's a bunch of rules about the only ways we can spend money is to follow certain rules.
Yeah, Teresa told,
So
she
she-
approved
you
this, yeah. I mean, she approved what we were doing,
Great.
Yeah.
That's good to have for.
yeah.
And I'm sorry, you might have said this already, but, have we spoken with other municipalities who have used Arbor Pro?
No, we haven't. I mean, that was actually something to do, but we have, no,
Mhm.
I have not.
Um,
There is a list of them though.
Yeah,
In New
yeah.
Jersey.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
recommending.
With the future funding for the software, does that come from our group or that comes from the town's budget?
That would have to come from the town budget unless,
I was just curious.
yeah. I mean, I guess that, I think that, just circling back to, I don't want to dismiss, the concerns of the end users and stuff. I mean, I think that, it's a valid point, it's a valid concern, but I think that also the setting up of the software is something that, as a Shade Tree Commission, we could help do. That just as a side note, I absolutely understand where they're coming from, but
Yeah, the concern being obviously the time commitment, it doesn't sound like though, once we're ramped up and running on this thing, it's not like a daily,
no.
no. Hours spent. updating.
Absolutely not.
Probably
It's only when
training.
maintenance is done, and it would run reports on, reports as needed on, like, if there was an area of concern, you could run a report of what was, of the trees in that area, the maintenance in that area. It could list your, when the inventory is done, the trees will have a risk assessment. So you could better plan for, what your priorities should be, maybe, this year and next year, like if your level ones are for this year, and then you could like reassess your level twos and re-rank them. So I think it gives you a long-term picture. But, even I know that a lot of the tree work that is done by other vendors in Frontier.
Mhm.
They could have a log on to this, so they would be also able to say, okay, I removed this tree. And it's not something that, our borough employees would have to do. It would be part of what our vendors could do, and they would have a restricted access to it,
Mhm.
so.
Who's on the break meeting?
And you need from the council what, just approval to go for the grant?
We already have the grant. Council already approved the grant, which included the software. So now we're moving forward to recommend the vendor to execute on the grant.
So council to vote on that to go with Arbor Pro?
All to a vote to approve.
But yeah,
Any other questions before we?
Oh, I second, I think you put a.
put it out there.
You put it out.
So I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? All opposed? All right, we're gonna move on and recommend that, town go with Arbor Pro.
Thank you so much, Jill, for your dedication. That was so much work.
Massive undertaking, Jill.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate it.
You're gonna be you could hire yourself as a consultant.
Yeah, really.
right? You got it, Saul. We're gonna move on to the resident tree buying program. Again,
Okay, so that, that launched on Monday. It went out in the Borough Buzz. And I don't think we have anybody yet.
Not yet, not yet.
So I would just ask, that if all of us individually can, post the, document, the link to your personal pages and share, in any groups that are related to Fairhaven, just to get going. I mean, I'm not completely surprised that it's a little bit of a slower,
Right.
movement. I think like 3 weeks is a long time for people to order. I suspect that it will happen all at the end, like it always does. But if we could just start talking about it frequently, so it doesn't come as a shock when everybody's like in the last 2 days. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure.
Leah, I saw your post on Facebook, is that right?
Yeah, I posted it to the Fairhaven group, but I'm not sure it's still, did anyone else see that? I wasn't
saw
sure
it.
if it was taken off. It's there, you
Saw
saw
it.
it? Okay,
I saw it, yeah.
okay, good.
I saw
Yeah.
Dave liked it or forwarded it or something like that.
Well, I
commented on
posted it to our Fairhaven, our Facebook group, but I also posted it to the Fairhaven group.
Ah,
Yeah, I think I did too, or I forwarded it in as well, but if everyone could just even just post it to your personal.
Yeah.
Pages.
And like,
uh,
just talk about it too.
Yes,
With your
yes,
neighbors.
multiple times, I mean.
Right.
Once a week.
Yeah. right.
You run it in the buzz, or is that, I'm just wondering.
It goes out every Monday, so
Yeah.
for these 2 weeks of sales.
It'll be
it's out
there.
Every Monday.
Cool.
Can it be in that front little thing, the digital sign out front? Is it possible to add that?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, we can ask Betty, you know.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Anything else? All right. Green team and natural area update. Bonnie is obviously not here. She did leave notes for me, so I will pass these along in her behalf. I'm also gonna combine, she's got her notes here, regarding the Salem oak tree, so I'm just gonna combine C and F on the agenda.
Hey, Chris.
She did make contact, Bonnie made contact with, Principal Schwartz over at, Sickles. And, informed her that we are gonna make, intend to plant the, Salem oaks on Arbor Day, which is Friday, April 26th. So if you're able, everybody, show up. I don't know that we came up with an exact time yet, but, sure that's coming. The Green Team update, Green Team is hoping to move Love Where You Live Day to the 3rd Street Trail this year to celebrate the volunteer efforts in town. Also, Bicentennial Hall appears to have some ADA work scheduled this spring. They're hoping to engage the kids in outdoor activities in the woods and spotlighting the town commissions and other environmental groups and good work they do. Pollinator Garden is moving forward. They had a $2,000 grant from Sustainable New Jersey. They're going to use it for educational signage, and it has also been approved to be used to purchase additional native plants. Natural area, we're moving ahead with the restoration of the northwest corner near this cell tower. The committee will be discussing plans for recognizing the 50th anniversary of the natural area at our next meeting on March 12th. The natural area will host a volunteer cleanup weekend on April 27th and 28th, where they will distribute 100 seedlings that Bonnie's going to be picking up from the NJTEP as part of the New Jersey Tree Recovery Campaign. So she's asking to keep those dates in your minds, and hopefully we could help out. That was it. All right. We'll move on to community outreach. Left.
Yep, we have 177 Instagram followers. We posted about the resident tree buying. I've made the Arbor Day post. I feel like there was something else that we had discussed. I know from the minutes from last month, Bonnie suggested an ivy removal post. I've actually made a couple, maybe I'll just repost them. With the instructions on how to remove it. I did, I did wonder what you guys would think. I mean, when I take my dog for walks a lot and I just see some trees that are just, choked out with ivy. And I think we've kind of mentioned this. What are our thoughts of like having something that we can leave on their door, just being like, hey, we noticed there's ivy on your tree and it might be hurting it, and then instructions. I mean, we did do the door hanger, was that a year ago already? I believe it was a year ago already.
Was, yeah.
But I don't know, I just wanted to pick your brains and see if you guys had any thoughts on how, besides posting on social, because it is pretty pervasive, the ivy's growing on our.
So we'd have the hangers and obviously just singling out the ones with ivy, or it should be just a townwide?
Yeah, like even Bill could, like, if he sees
Yeah,
them,
exactly.
have them in his truck and like throw it on the door, or I don't know. Bill's not here today, so I can't even ask him, but just kind of wanted to throw something out there.
Do we
Maybe
have any extra for door hangers too? Jill?
I'm almost inclined just to go and cut it down myself sometimes when I see it around me. I hear what you're saying, Leah.
yeah, yeah.
Do we have extras? Yeah.
I don't have them personally. Did I bring them
Okay.
back to you guys or?
You were handing them out to like you had wrapped them, the kids. I don't know if you had any. I'll look here too.
Yeah, I definitely don't. I mean, if I did, I don't anymore, but
Okay.
yeah.
I might have a few. I don't know.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, the door hanger that we have, it wasn't specific to ivy, was it? But there was.
No, it had like
spotty problems and.
it had like different
Side
tips,
it was
like,
ivy,
how to
right?
trim the tree. Pardon me?
On one side it was ivy, and the other one was, I think, tree trimming, like you said.
Yeah.
Oh.
Or like, do we just have like a letter with, can we like, that we put in the mail? Just
In the mailbox.
that we've identified their property with, and not to sound threatening, just more like educational about it, because a lot of people don't know. Or we just
No,
more
I
work?
think
I don't know
more-
what to say. I don't know. It just bothers me because I see it so much. And I think a lot of people just have no idea.
Maybe we should revive what we did last year with the door hanger. Do we still have the template, Christie? Would that be something else
Yeah.
need to
Leah
to
designed
reprint
it.
it?
Could you ever do like a volunteer task force type thing for like kids and some of us or something like that going around and, oh, they did the Third Street Trail and we cut all the ivy off that. I mean, this is private property, so it's a little bit different, obviously, but
Yeah.
if there's a particularly bad street that you're walking by every day and you're like, there's a lot on that street, maybe we can do something about it, you know?
Right.
That's a good idea.
I mean, the kids were the ones that put out the door hangers with Jill's skills with the volunteers.
Trying to think of how we, without appearing judgy or pushy.
Right, so what I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
for
that's true.
everyone, just put them all over, do like a townwide distribution.
Yeah.
Like we did last year.
Because I see the same thing and I'm like, I wish I could go cut that ivy out.
Well, I like the idea. What if there was a group that were IB specialists, Chris, I'm looking at you. And, we put something out, like, if you need help removing ivy from your trees, like, you could schedule a
For the elderly.
patient with like,
It's a good idea.
Yeah, be a lot.
yeah.
Right.
To take the edge off my neighbors watching me, which I agree with, and might rub people the wrong way. You could do something like, have it be a letter from the tree to the homeowner, dear owner, I'm suffocating, sort of. This is harming.
You choked me out pretty hard.
This is how you can help me. You
I
know, might.
actually, I catch their eyes for sure,
Yeah.
something like that, I think it's great, yeah.
You didn't know I could write, did you?
But I like that, it's good.
That is a cool idea.
It's a good one.
But I think a lot of people just don't realize that A and B, a
Yeah.
lot of people would not be opposed, like, my next door neighbor's an elderly gentleman and he can't do it himself, like,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
I may have missed this, but do we have any of the door hangers left from last year?
We have some, but I don't think we have enough.
Yeah, maybe, I mean, we could kind of do it on our own too and just walk around when we see something, maybe just bring a door hanger with us and knock on a door. And especially if it's one of our neighbors that we know,
Mhm.
it might be, at least it's a start. I mean, it's a problem that I don't know if we're going to get completely a hold of, but, to do our part. I see it too,
Yeah.
Lee. I mean, I see it walking around, the Hanson Grange area, and I just
Yeah,
wanted to go knock on the
I know
door.
we're walking the same area.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll,
I'll follow up if I can find any extra of the door hangers.
maybe we should look into getting a quote
Not, I
for,
can print some in color and hand them out, so everyone has like a little stack, if that's what you choose.
Hmm.
and it just be like a letter in the mailbox. That's a
Yeah,
start.
maybe some
Okay.
resources, right, maybe resources for you, if you can't do it yourself or don't want to do it yourself, you could
We could help.
Right.
call X, Y, and Z.
Could we add it in the body? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Could we add it in the body of one of the town emails? Because, that's another way to reach people. And it would be free.
That's a good
And
idea.
it-
Could we
Good idea.
do it in the borough buzz?
Borough
Like,
buzz,
could we
yeah.
put a
Borough
message?
buzz transmitter.
So full.
It is, but I like read it. So
It's a new paper.
Mark, you can kick off the register your pets. We should have done that in January.
oh, we should ask the fire. We should ask the firemen to put it on the firehouse. Like
There you go.
Oh,
You're
I
honest.
love that.
good
I kind of
idea.
like the idea of the letter from your tree. I kind of, I'm gonna let that cook in my head to see if there's a way to.
Then we
Something
do it to, like a letter format, colored printout, no door hanger.
Yeah,
Easier.
just put it in their mailbox.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I don't know if we have to be, if we disclose who we are. The actual producer of the letter.
Tree ninjas. Yeah.
Send it
But
back
that's
to this
actually a
number.
good point. We probably do have to
Yeah,
give it some,
Maybe that could be a project at Love Where You Live Day, having your table and doing 5 year Guinness.
Right.
that's a good idea.
It's a good
put
idea.
something on there that if you're elderly, you need help,
Yeah.
contact the Shade Tree Commission.
yeah,
We'll
that's a
take
good
care of it.
idea.
Very good.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Larry.
And happy birthday.
Oh,
Thank you.
Today, a couple days ago?
It was Sunday.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thanks.
All right, moving on to Christmas tree replacement. Mike is here.
Hi, how are you?
Mike, we got some quotes.
Does everybody have a copy of the quote in front of them, or gonna just read through it, from my end?
Christy, can you share it
Brian, you
on
got
the
one?
screen?
There you go. I believe so.
Thank you. That'd be great.
Couple things, I'm not sure if it was discussed last meeting, but the trees have been removed at this point, if you went by Memorial Park. Both the Christmas tree and the tree next to it have been removed. So that's the first step. We did get a quote from Capelli Farms to plant a new tree. So if you have it in front of you, or I can just kind of go through it, Bonnie was helpful in getting their W-9 and such. Anyways, it comes with a 1-year guarantee under certain stipulations, which we kind of have to square away. So thanks for sharing that, Chrissy. So it looks like what we're showing there is the two options. So the options are whether we get a 10 to 12 foot Norway spruce installed. I think in both cases we want to have them install it, because if they install it, then they guarantee it. Or do we go 8 to 10, which would be $1,700, and the 10 to 12 would be $2,200. installed. Like I said, it does come with a warranty under certain stipulations, which they share with us, which has to do with the page that's being shown right now, as far as how much watering should be done, how the watering should be done. So I think a few things to hash out with the DPW on that, as far as, when you read it, it says owner at no time shall use the following to water their softscape, including automated landscape lawn sprinkler system. So you gotta have them read through it, because obviously the onus is going to be on the DPW to help us maintain and water properly so that the roots take and it grows. It's my understanding that the next town council meeting is scheduled for, I believe, the 25th of March, at which point the budget is supposed to be discussed. And further said, I think it's my understanding as well that monies have been set aside for this. So I think and Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's really up to us to vote whether we proceed with Compelli and whether we use the 8 to 10 foot or the 10 to 12. And then proceed with trying to get this planted in the spring, which was suggested as the best time to do it.
Yeah, that's correct. I think we should move to a vote or quick discussion. What is everybody in favor of? Definitely installed, I think makes the most sense, of course.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I agree with the installed. I think everyone would prefer a larger tree, but I have in my head the idea that a smaller tree might survive a little bit easier. Is that what I mean? I don't know if that's true, but that seems plausible to me.
I think for some reason, I have the same notion that
My understanding.
it'll set in better.
It would end up being healthier in the long run.
Yeah, and maybe even taller in a couple of years.
Well, it's also a cost savings, but I don't think you notice a difference personally, right? Because the range is 8 to 10, 10 to 12. So if you get a 9 as opposed to 11, then it's not going to be noticeable. And I think by the time you hit the holiday season, if it's watered properly and the roots take properly, you should start to see some growth in it. And like I said, and this is not a 1-year option like we talked about earlier, doing a cut tree like they do in Red Bank and then throwing it out. This is for the longevity of something that can, grow over time. And that's why we, if you recall, removed the tree that was adjacent to it closer to the river, so that this would give it the ability to kind of have more of a presence over the years.
Did they, what were the findings on the soil? Because it seemed like tree after tree wasn't taking. And weren't they soil sampling? Like what ended up being the result of that?
So Compelli, their point to us was, so the soil is fine as far as like overall, right? Without having a degree in it. But the landscaper said, does grass grow there? The answer is yes. And then their point was, well, a tree will grow there fine. One of the things that I need to still circle up with is, obviously when you grind a stump, you're basically grinding wood chips into the ground. Trying to understand better from the DPW, can they remove that and replace it with some kind of soil as well? Which is not a heavy, I could do it myself. But from the soil findings, it was, a tree could grow there. It seemed like the tree that was there was just not getting enough water, and it also it had some kind of a disease on it. But the Norway spruce is a different species and should be fuller over time and grow both up and out a little bit as well.
I have a bit of a dumb question. Does the 10 to 12 or the 8 to 10, does that include the root ball, or is it from the bottom of the tree?
That's a good question, actually. I'll call and ask. It's a very good question.
Make a big difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I would imagine it's from surface
From
to
above the root ball.
Yeah.
Is what I would assume.
What's that, Kev?
Assume, but that makes sense. I think it
Is root ball.
Mike, would you say you were stumped by that question?
Wow.
Meeting adjourned, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.
My boys call me the tree nerd. I think
Don't they sometimes put in a lot of like high quality soil when they put a big tree in like that anyways, all around it? or not necessarily?
I mean, for, I can get the understanding of the installation and what's included, but usually you put some kind of soil. You don't
Yeah.
just drop it in the ground as existing. You
Right.
put some kind of a potting soil and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they are on the hook for it, so for a year.
Yeah, the other thing too is
Or,
if you read
sorry.
about the maintenance agreement, it says that it's null and void if we use any kind of fertilizer by the owner. One of the questions I can ask them tomorrow is, what kind of fertilizer is expected for this? Is there any, and do you supply that? So I didn't get the answer on that. So,
Mike, just to
but
clarify, we're talking about siting the tree in the same place that roughly the same place as it is now? Or
roughly the same place, but we'd center it more between where the existing Christmas tree was and the tree that was subsequently taken down to give it more room to grow. If you recall, the
Okay.
existing Christmas tree was kind of close to a sidewalk. So we
Right.
probably, I guess it's like I don't know how to, I guess the best way I could describe that piece of land is like an isosceles triangle. So you try to center it more. And then, before we plant it, we would obviously bring in the Veteran Park Committee, at least a couple of representatives to just, put a cone out. Here's where it's going to go. Do you agree? Or, if not, move it this way, that way, and so on.
Is the town gonna be allowed to salt those sidewalks? Or is DPW gonna be like, I mean, I'm sure they're cognizant of what is going on, but like, there may need to be some more care in terms of what is done to those sidewalks, because they are quite close, right? I don't know.
Yes and no. I mean, I'm not sure what the maintenance is of the snowstorms we get if we get any, but we can always ask that as well, or ask them to be cognizant of the fact that there's a new species there that we're trying to maintain. I mean, I think that if I've never seen them, clean up any snow that's there, but I would imagine they use a snow blower originally.
Okay, so they're not like salting the public.
I don't know. Good question. Stop stumping me.
I mean, how far would you say?
But I
they are from the
guess
sidewalk?
those are all things that we can ask about. But I think the whole idea was, and not to rush it, but to get it approved with the budget and move forward, was kind of the next step here, because I know we're not having a meeting in April due to spring breaks. Apparently, that's what my understanding is. So that would put us into May as far as even having the approval process done. So if you guys, it's up to you guys if you want those answers before we vote on it. But I think all those can be controlled, because everybody I think has the same goal here of having more of a town celebratory holiday tree.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I think we should, if you could find out those answers, that'd be great. But I think we need to have a quick discussion of what size we want to.
How
Yeah,
big
and
was
then-
the tree that we took down? I mean, I know it was sad looking, but how tall was
It's
it?
pretty tall though, right?
Yeah.
It was
I
more than.
would say it's probably 12 to 14 feet, if I had to guess. Maybe not that high. I don't know. It was tall but skinny, obviously. And if you recall, the town and the committee basically put a lot of, I think DJ, it was agreed upon in the council to try to spruce it up with like, box gifts around it and stuff this year to kind of make it look better. And they did a good job. It looked good. Yeah, put some tinsel on some popcorn strings,
What does everybody think, as far as size? I think, I get the point about, the smaller tree might take better, but something inside me says, we go all in here. We're gonna do it.
I mean,
Go big, go home.
I guess in my thought, like, even though I do recall, I guess it was Bill talking about the smaller tree having a great chance of survival, like I'm perhaps incorrectly, like I'm thinking like we're talking about a pretty significant difference. Where maybe if you're planting a 5-foot tree versus a 20-foot tree, that maybe we're not gonna see that discrepancy between a 12-foot tree and a 10-foot tree. I don't know. I'd say if we, are we paying for this?
We
The
are,
shade tree?
yeah, it is coming out of our.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, where to go bigger one.
Chris, I thought, Chris, it was my understanding that the reason why we delayed this was that it would be part of the town budget. So I'm not sure, I don't think the Shade Tree Committee is actually paying for this. I believe Teresa, I'm 99% sure that Teresa put funds aside in the budget this year for this tree replacement, so.
Right.
It's
for
just
our-
listed under the Shade Tree Commission budget.
Okay, got it.
It grows like 2 feet a year, it says, online, so. It can grow up to 5 feet, but under perfect conditions, but, so it grows pretty quickly.
Yeah, you gotta remember too, if we plant
We're
it
gonna
in
put out of
May,
it by the time.
if we plant it by the end of May, you really have 7 months or 6 months until you're really thinking about decorating for Christmas. For the holiday season, excuse me.
I thought like,
So-
they really don't take off growing for a couple years, like,
Yeah.
you know, the first year it sits there, second year it settles in, third year is when you actually see like.
Right.
it take
Have
off.
have you heard the expression, they spend 2 Christmases together and then they start growing? Like that's what my neighbor always said when I planted trees.
Oh.
So yeah, that kind of goes along with what you're saying, Joe. Are they gonna, like when they plant it, they provide the soil and all the things that are needed to plant it? Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, Mike's gonna find out a little more detail on it, but we're kind of, I think, under a pretty good assumption that if they're on the hook for it.
Yeah,
I think the
They're gonna take care of the soil.
Right, the warranty, they're local, and if we ever have any, questions, I think that you're in Middletown on Keynes Lane. I think, yes, I'm sure that they'll just dump it in and take whatever's there and scrape it around. But I will find that answer for you and us. But the warranty, I think, is key as long as we can meet the maintenance in the contract itself, which specifically says how much water it needs, how often it should be watered. I can go to DPW tomorrow and just ask them, is this feasible? And I don't really understand the whole thing of no time shall I use an automatic lawn sprinkler system. But I can ask about that.
I don't think it goes deep enough, is my understanding, if you use a sprinkler, like it doesn't get into the roots. I've been told that before when we're planting stuff, that a sprinkler system,
No, you can't just reline.
yeah, doesn't work when you're for the first, year,
They usually stick drip line around it low.
right?
Well, I
Do you
still
want
think
me
we
to,
should-
I can forward that contract, to, Nick and Rich for review if you want me to.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But to Mike's point, we should vote to
Yeah.
get the process along. So we
agreed,
can,
agreed,
So we
because
want to,
it'll be June by then, and then it's too late.
right.
make a motion to purchase the 10 to 12-foot Norway spruce installed for $2,200, subject to our questions being answered. I mean, I think we have a few outstanding questions.
Sure, and I think Mike's gonna get the answers right away. It's gonna be another month at least if we get the PO.
Mhm.
So we're gonna.
Just for
Iron out-
just for my
iron
own,
out a few details.
yeah, Chrissy, just for my own head, once I get those answers, and I'll try to get them completed tomorrow. How do we share those with the committee, right?
You would send
So
them to
that-
me and I could send it to everyone.
Okay.
Cause you can't, that would
Yep.
constitute quorum if you send it, why you send it,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Just don't reply all, everyone.
Got it. I did that
Right.
once. I got yelled at.
Is everybody in favor of,
Mike, do you wanna make that motion and?
sorry.
vote?
Yeah, sure.
that it? Is that
We
it?
go with,
So we
I
just.
don't know what he said. I
Shade
motion
tree?
to
Or-
approve.
What's your recommendation? What do you?
Well, I motion to approve the purchase and installation of the tree. With some of the outstanding questions to be answered in coming days.
That's good.
And we'll do the 10 to 12.
what do you think, Mike, on the size?
I just, Leah brings up a good question. I think 10 to 12, especially with the guarantee, with the warranty.
Everyone in favor of 10 to
Second.
12?
Yeah.
Aye. 4, 5, looks like 10 to 12. Alrighty. Move forward then.
Wait,
10 to 22,
Yes.
install. Mike, thank you very much.
Thank you.
thanks, Mike.
Thanks.
Moving on to Arbor Day. Mike D'Angelo.
Yes, we're off and running towards Arbor Day, final Friday in April. I know that we don't have a meeting the first week of April, but nonetheless, our biggest and brightest holiday is at the end of the month. I passed on information to Chris and Christy from the last meeting because I couldn't make it, that we're going to have, again, sponsoring event at the library with the children's librarian for several age kids at different times. And that's for sickles age kids, I think pre-K all the way up to third. And there are different times, which I think Leah and Christy, you should have those times and the date. And as far as the poster contest, I kept emailing Joe Heath, and I was like, I wasn't hearing back from her. And then I realized she retired. So now I'm in contact with Peggy Dengler, and she told me that Sean approved the poster contest again for this year, so we're off and running with that. Posters will be started very soon, and they will be due on Arbor Day at Knollwood. I'll have them ready for the May, probably 3rd or 4th meeting that we'll have the first week of May. We'll review it, announce the winners, and then we can have them come to our meeting at the beginning of the meeting in June to give the $50 Canyon Pass gift cards. I think we mentioned a couple meetings ago about doing other things. I know Bonnie is probably working on a tree planting program, but also if we wanted to incorporate the resident tree buying program, if people do apply for a tree or do want to have a tree, then maybe we, as part of our Arbor Day celebration, provide one free tree to anybody that is interested. And I know we brought that up a couple meetings ago. I don't know if it was discussed at the last meeting.
We did discuss it at the last meeting, Mike, and kind of thought that it was a lot. I mean, I think it was more of like maybe my concern that there's so much information with the logistics of the resident tree buying program that it might have been a little bit much to comprehend to say, you might get your tree for free after you commit to purchasing it. I think we kind of were, I was concerned.
That's fine. That's
that,
fine.
I mean, if needed.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So any questions about Arbor Day?
I can make a graphic for the library day. I already started another one. And it's kind of, so that would probably, if I could just have the details on that, I'll make a graphic for it.
Sure. I'll send that to you. I'll email it to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any pictures, by the way? I feel like, sorry, not to claim jump here, of any trees that were purchased last year from the resident?
One.
Somebody sent.
Somebody sent
Yeah,
that's a thank you
yeah.
or-
I think it might be nice to
I'll
have,
look for it and see if I can find it.
that'd be nice. All right, sorry. I'm
Yeah, I
jumping.
think it was one of the cherry trees.
Yeah, I think so, and maybe we could look at that list and see if there's anybody on there that wants to submit a picture of their tree like 6 months later.
That's a great.
Yeah, I wonder if
Probably,
we
like, nothing
circulated
they
that
need.
amongst the commission, if people like knew personally somebody that, they'd feel comfortable reaching out to. I could think of a few people on that list that I wouldn't mind. I could easily ask, but
I can
they
ask,
have older kids. It would be better if there's like, you know, a picture with like a cute little kid.
yeah, right.
Lori Bertone had sent me one, that's what you guys have thought.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
She sent me a
I thought
picture.
there was one though, we definitely had one with a kid in it though too.
I think that was a cherry tree. I vaguely remembering that. And, I can ask the
Yeah,
folks
if I do,
who
I'll-
won the cherry trees,
Yeah,
see if they,
yeah.
if they want to post something or submit something.
Nicole, that one. Okay, yeah, I think we might have another one. I can send it over to you guys.
Thanks.
And just like, once again on Arbor Day, we're gonna be planting the Salem Oaks in Sickles Park.
Good Friday, right?
Yeah, Friday.
Is that open to the public or is it just for the children?
So we were trying to coordinate something with, the principal there to have the kids out around the same time that we were gonna do the planning. They talk to them about the Salem Oak and its significance, but, Bonnie wasn't really able to connect with, Principal Schwartz, or she wasn't getting back to her, so we don't have anything really formal scheduled right now. We're kind of hoping that as it gets closer and word gets out, that maybe they'll make time for the kids to come out and, you know, watch.
It's here every
essentially.
day at drop off. I can ask Bonnie if she wants me to ask her when I see her.
Okay,
today.
that'd be a good idea, helpful. Okay. 2024 shade tree planting plan. Again, we were discussing what we want to do. Our schedule is kind of coordinated with Peter's calendar of important dates and things like that. We wanted to donate some trees during this purchasing.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
Right, the resident tree and, you know, something along Third Street Trail, any public.
Just different from like when we picked a couple locations last year, when we planted that were replacement trees.
Yeah, that was like the giveaway that we had done.
We had
It
like
was
that
different
whole
from
list
the
of
resident
potential
trees.
spots, right?
We had somebody, I guess, take photos and we voted on the areas. Yeah, this is different.
This is different, right?
This is us maybe taking a more active role, like using some of our funds and getting some trees out there.
Tacking on to the order for the tree buying.
Correct, yeah. And
So I did confirm with, Fernbrook that they would be willing to drag some trees down their tree trail, so that's good news. The resident that wanted to do the memorial tree is going to purchase one of those and put it there. So that's an option if we wanted to consider that. I think we also talked about, adding to, the community fields, right?
yes,
Last time.
yes.
But we'd also have that, if we wanted to think about that for more than a moment, we also have that opportunity with the fall program.
Right.
If we wanted to like kind of say that that would be a project we'd like to consider, we could probably, you know,
Sure.
say, all right, let's count how many spots there would be, or I
Right.
don't know.
It'd be
I mean, we could do it now too, obviously, but since we have to submit that order, at the end of the month,
It's a
someone
little
would
tight.
have to get on that, and,
Right.
you know, to kind of pick
Right.
one, yeah.
So that'd be, I guess, kind of brings us to the whole point of the calendar as well. Definitely get that in there and make a selection for the October planting.
It would be,
But it's like
yeah, like
August
it would be,
purchase,
we'd have to
September
purchase
purchase.
in, assuming it's as similar to last year, we opened it up in August, and we had a couple weeks. We submitted our order, I think by Labor Day is what, if I'm remembering correctly, and then they planted the last week in September.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, and we'll obviously have more clarity on the budget and funds and everything.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
All right. We'll keep this on for, well, we'll keep this on for the meeting, but the next few meetings, but maybe keep an eye out for areas that anybody might think.
I think, Chris, I had sent you an email about the follow-up about the, community center.
Oh, communities, yeah.
Because somebody had brought up that location and people, but it sounds like, there may be a second phase post-police in that area, so they just didn't think it was smart to plant trees in that park.
That makes sense, yeah.
There's a lot of ideas swirling, I guess, or, of what that next area might look like, but I know somebody also mentioned maple. So if you have like a distinct spot, maybe we can arrange for a meeting to go on site with, Rich and Nick, make sure it's a good spot.
What do you mean maple? The
Somebody
street?
mentioned Maple Ave.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't remember.
Was it?
Yeah.
I thought that was the people that, the people on Maple back up to.
Yes,
That's,
yeah,
so it wasn't
yeah,
on Maple,
yeah.
but it was the
Oh,
same,
that's
same area that
yeah,
we're discussing.
yeah.
All right.
So if you're
Where on the
spot
community
in
center where they put the trees again?
By the playground.
By the playground, you know,
Behind it?
well, the basketball court,
Yeah.
the playground, the slide, that whole area, I guess, a handful of years ago, town took out a bunch of trees and kind of left those people just, exposed pretty well.
Yeah.
And if I, Mike and Chris, do you remember did the town actually tell them that they were going to replace those trees and just never did? I know we talked about this a lot in early.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and look at my notes, but I believe it wasn't doable at the time because of other projects or things going on. I will have to look at it, but it was put on hold. I do remember that.
Yeah,
That was the whole trail and everything, remember? And then the trees were, everyone went nuts with the trees potentially being taken
some of
out.
them got damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I think for a number of years, I guess really they kept saying that, no, there's gonna be construction, police department, community center, blah, 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 and that went on for a number of years, and they just kept, I think we just kept rolling that excuse over.
Even the playground was muted out, right? Didn't they put in like a whole playground right there?
I thought a branch fell. I thought a branch fell near the playground, and that kind of started off the process.
That's what it was, yeah.
Dangerous.
Yeah,
They had to take them out because for that reason, I thought.
I think that there was some sort of disease or something and like, but it just kind of like eliminated the whole line of whatever.
Right, and
Yeah.
took away all their shade,
Yeah.
and there you go.
Yeah, and all their privacy
Yep.
and,
I know I remember years ago, a handful of years ago when I started, people came to the meeting, and I guess their yards were kind of flooding too as well. Because of
Yes.
initially or something.
yeah, that's right. I remember that.
So it seems like we'll have when the construction is finished, we'll have a window of opportunity to do some. Like, that's when the dust will settle and we'll be able to start looking for places to plant trees. If they aren't already designated as.
Yeah.
Right, over there.
Places for trees to go.
So
Yeah,
we probably should come up with some other
areas.
locations
Mhm.
for this year.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like that's gonna be a great option.
So,
I mean, I guess if all, without any other ideas, we could go into the Third Street Trail, but it'd be nice to spread the
Agreed,
love.
yeah.
Right.
Third tree, it looks great, but it's getting a lot of love now.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, so like I said, we'll keep this line item on the agenda. And we come up with something in the meantime, if you guys see something, save it for the next meeting, we'll start collecting a few choices, and then maybe vote on. Moving on to Peter Degani in the 24 calendar.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, the idea was to just get our kind of key events on a calendar or a list of dates. And you have one? And so from the last meeting, I updated the list of dates from last time. And is that up on the screen? Okay, thank you. But we have for March, spring resident tree buying program, plant list due March 29th. Presenting the annual report to council in March, which I think we still have to clarify if that's actually gonna happen. April, we have late Arbor Day and planting the Salem Oak at Sickles. Fairhaven Field Natural Area Cleanup Day. May, Love Where You Live Day on May 5th. August is the Fall Resident Tree Buying Program, plant list due. We're still not quite sure when yet, but we're gonna clarify that. That'll be sometime in August. September, plant the tree near the playground by the community center. And I think we're really kind of pushing that now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. October is the interannual budget, and then December community forestry management plan deadline, December 24th and 25th, which I think I still had. What is it? It's officially due 24. I keep asking the same question, but it's due 2024, but it's postponable for a year or something like that.
Like a 1 year
Grace period. Okay.
Expires and our plan expires December 24.
I see.
Yeah.
Barry Sparrow, the tree expert, has been keeping our eyes open. I guess they're gonna announce possibly Green Acres, Green Communities grants that might be available for us to hire a professional to write one, help write it.
All right. Definitely keep our eye on that.
I think I saw that come through.
We had dates to be determined, plant inventory, and also the tree ordinance. Will plan to attend that council meeting when it's scheduled. So this is what we have right now. And again, the idea is to keep these dates out in front of us and making sure we're keeping an eye on them. If anyone has anything to add now, or you can send me a note, I will update this, and we'll do it again next month or the month after.
Anybody have
Good.
anything?
We're good with continuing ed, right?
What was that, Chris?
We're good with continuing ed. If we,
They haven't updated the amount of credits for 2024 yet. The only data they have is through year end 2023. But I mean, 8 credits required per year, and tons of people went to the Monmouth University talk, and I know Nick Porchinsky did the model governance webinar yesterday. I'll keep you posted on opportunities.
How many, what do we have now? I mean, it sounds like it was that Monmouth thing like 3 or 1?
It was 1, but so many people went. But I'll send you guys anything that I see come across. Do you get the NJUCF emails directly?
Yeah.
I do. Yeah.
You do, okay, because usually that's
Everybody
right
get
line stuff.
Have they sent one recently? I don't know. If I've gotten
They don't send them too frequently, actually.
Like once a
so-
month, maybe.
Yeah.
help I'm getting.
I'm sure if I'm getting it either.
I
We get
will,
that native plant email.
Is the cleanup day the Saturday, the 27th of April?
yes.
Okay.
any,
Update that. Good, that's all I have.
All right, Peter, thank you very much. Tree removal permit data, Christy Larson.
Okay, I left it on, Jill will pass them down, the tree permits that have been filed so far this year. I can compare it to the not too many so far, so, take a look.
Would it be, okay to forward these people specifically the, tree buying, the resident tree
Yeah,
buying?
definitely, I
Oh,
can do that
excellent.
directly.
Yes.
I can send everyone who even took a permit out last year or the year before, why not, right?
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be great. Good idea.
Christiana, I think we asked this before. Is this completed or is this,
It's completed.
these are all
The first
completed?
numbers on the left hand.
okay, including the replacement?
No, the replacement is what they're supposed to do.
Okay, those were, right.
Right.
Okay. Thank you, Kristen. Yeah, it's a good idea. We'll definitely targeting them. All right, council and tree preservation ordinance update. Councilman Olson.
Got a lot.
Uh-oh.
So, first thing is the mayor is trying to shorten the council meetings. One of the things that he is having us do is rather than give a verbal update on all the committees, we're going to submit in writing. And then that'll be distributed. We're not sure how it's going to be distributed yet. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to take notes, and maybe Kristen can share the minutes. And I'll try to get it into some sort of condensed form, run it by you, make your edits, and then I don't know if it's gonna go for a buzz or how it's gonna be distributed, but rather than a verbal update, it will be that way, which I think is good, because I don't believe Shade Tree, they haven't gotten their own space at the meeting while I've been your liaison.
Okay.
Tracy just sort of tacked it on to some of our other stuff.
Okay.
So if there's things that you want to emphasize, tell Chris and me.
Okay. Great, appreciate it.
So I have the list of things that we're working on. The budget, we had a meeting last night. It was our second or third meeting. The last version I saw did have the Christmas tree in there. So that's good. I don't recall hearing them. We're working on hiring a CFO, hiring a borough administrator, opening the police department, the DPW, and the construction. We hired a couple DPW. We made offers to hire a couple DPW workers. We're still short. Carter Pond's got some noise, and we have a garbage and recycling contract that we need to get squared away. So it's quite a bit. Once some of that clears, the tree ordinance is my focus, but I feel like I had to get to the budget first. A theme on trees is maintenance, so that's invasives and deer. I'm optimistic that we're going to have a line item in the budget for invasives for the natural area, so they can do maintenance. We're going to have someone come from, I think it's the state, it might be the county, for a deer mitigation plan. They're going to present to council. I think it's unanimous. I mean, people don't like killing deer, but it's unanimous that they're doing tremendous harm. You know, they eat the young trees. There's nothing growing in the forest to replace the old ones. So if you guys support it, that would be great. I'm a big fan. So we'll have some sort of deer hunt that will be done safely. To use bow and arrow, not guns. They shoot down, so no one's gonna get injured.
How do they do that? What do you need?
So they will, a deer stand probably in a tree, and they shoot down. So if they miss, it just goes in the ground. And they have it worked out. I mean, the county and the people involved have done it at other places.
They're gonna be speaking at the May 13th council meeting, the DEP, about this program if you're interested in
Yes, thank
attending.
There's deer stands in New Woods and stuff like that, right? Like, I think
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't quote me on the numbers, but the order of magnitude is correct that our area could support a population of about 5 deer. We think we have a couple hundred.
That's 5 deer. That's all we get.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems crazy. There's 9 that live in my mom's yard.
I actually think it's less than 5, but I say 5 just to myself some wiggle room.
Yeah,
See more than five or
yeah, past about 50,
house.
I'm just on my way here.
So the point is that there's no natural predators. They overpopulate and then they get disease and it's horrible torture for them.
Sure.
And they eat everything inside.
I agree.
I would encourage you to do your report to the council. I think that's a good thing.
I think,
It's
was that a
on
schedule?
for the 25th right now, because this Monday's at Norwood. I
Yes,
think Josh gave them the 25th.
23rd, yeah.
Good.
So we did have the EC one last time. The EC part was good. There was some resistance to the round table. So I would de-emphasize that. There was sort of a little resistance on sort of what that may have become. The tree ordinance, so I'll share with you, I've read it. I read legal documents for a living. I'm not a lawyer. This is very hard to understand for me. I want to try to simplify it. Think more of Gettysburg Address, that's Moby Dick.
Right.
So I mean, obviously I need your buy-in, but this is the philosophy that I'm thinking. Sort of the reality on the ground is, you know, you can see it here. Really, people get to cut down whatever they want.
Mhm.
You know, they just say it's dangerous, it's a safety issue, and then everyone says fine. So if that's the reality, my view is it would be optimal to just sort of let people cut down what they want, but they have to either replace a tree or give money to this committee. And you guys could, you know, plant the trees. And maybe it's gotta be something like if it's a big tree, they have to, you plant 2 or 3 trees, you know, there's some sort of scaling possibly. But then that sort of takes away the hand-to-hand combat and, you know, and people end up winning it. You know, they get to take the trees down. I know that's not a great thing to say to the Shade Tree Commission. But that's sort of the compromise I have in my head between, you know, property rights and safety versus trees produce, you know, shared air and carbon removal and water and drainage. And so it's part of it that's shared, part of it is individual. To me, it feels like a good compromise is, you know, let them do what they want within reason. I suppose there could be some guardrails. As long as they contribute back to the community and like them out, either through new trees or dollars. Jill doesn't look like she likes it.
So, hey, Sylvia, I first of all, we didn't know, unless I missed something, that there was resistance going on. Like, is there a real holdup, like, because there's some disagreement in the ordinance? Or was it just kind of like, no, we didn't get to it? Because to your credit, that was the most breakdown and analysis we have ever gotten in the past few years, at least a year. So we didn't even know that there was a debate about the ordinance going on in council.
I don't think there is one at the council. So I think you're previously, as I was working with the town attorney,
Okay.
and that's where this document came from. I think they put a lot of time into it.
Mhm.
I'm a big fan of things are complicated, people have a hard time following them.
Sure.
It's gotta be simple, put it on a cereal box and they can follow it.
Mhm.
And so I wanna try to trim it down, balance between the community's needs and the individual's rights. And this is the best solution. It's probably not perfect, but I don't know that there is a perfect solution. And I'm obviously open to feedback. But I don't think there's a big debate. I think that, there is a consensus. Again, the meetings are, you know, 4 or 5 hours long, and people are coming to us and asking, you know, can we remove this tree? And as soon as they say it's a safety issue, we all say, sure, you know, I'm exaggerating a little, but so just take that off, let people sort of do what they want. And if we find that's not working, then we can amend it. and tighten it up.
Mhm.
I do think that most everybody likes trees and wants,
Sure.
people, like, there aren't anti-tree people, I don't think.
No.
My concern is that we have a lot of builders, and we have a lot of people that are new to the area that have a different, they may not appreciate trees as much. My concern is when people cut down large trees that have taken, 100 years plus to grow, that no matter how many little trees they plant, that does not replace that heritage tree. And it affects the entire neighborhood. It can really, and it affects neighborhoods' values. Like River Oaks is a desirable, pricier neighborhood for a reason. It's because of the trees. So and while I appreciate that these are people's private properties, I think that unfortunately, over the last several years, we've over-indexed in the other direction, and we're kind of trying to like steer the ship in a different direction. And so the ordinance, while wordy, is in line with some of the other communities that the attorney was working on. And unfortunately, it's like my concern personally is that if we are a little more lenient, it's like when it's like the kids when they take advantage of you because you said okay, you said okay. Um, I feel like we need to be a little more strict because some people will break the rules, and then they'll get fined. But I just think we've lost just too many trees in recent history. I really do.
I agree.
I agree as well. I think, I'm just wondering, since now we know that there has been real discussion regarding this ordinance, whether or not we have.
There really hasn't. I mean, the mayor just gave it to me sort of at the beginning, and then I got buried in the budget and all this other stuff. And I read it, and sort of bounced the ideas off the mayor, sort of big picture. But there hasn't been like discussion in workshop or anything like that.
Well, I'm just wondering if there's been any changes or any proposed changes that we could review, if there. Because we haven't really
No,
looked
I
it
mean,
over in quite some time, and like I said, we were kind of under the impression that it was just kind of slowly
So
progressing towards.
I don't know, this is like a 20-page document, but
Right.
I don't want to do this.
Would it make sense to have the attorney write a synopsis that's actually understandable?
So possibly, but I think it kind of falls under the category of goodwill. My understanding is he spent a lot of time on this. And I'm hesitant. I told Josh that I want to try to write my own version first and try to get it kind of done, so that he doesn't have to spend a lot, just to be respectful of his time.
Sure. So at this point, I mean, what would you want from us to review your potential?
So I think at this stage, tell me if you agree with the philosophy. It sounds like some don't. That's fine. But if there's consensus that that's an okay philosophy, then I'll try to write something and then bring it here and we can talk about it. Try to compromise and find something that works for everybody. Okay. I mean, that's what
I guess, can we try and just stick with the things that we worked to kind of put the guardrails on and take the legalese out of it? I feel like the attorney did write a synopsis at one point, maybe a year ago.
So.
Like there was a smaller document kind of summarizing it, and I've read that thing too, and I agree, it's a lot, but I'm absolutely not okay with saying take down whatever you want like that is and replace it with a few trees like that goes against, I think, the total concept of protecting and preserving our canopy. Like that's what we're here for. That's like anti-shade tree in my opinion, but I mean, I feel like we all kind of bought into that already, and to just abandon it is not a great idea.
I think just I think you might have seen some blank stares when you made your first point. And just from my perspective, it's been, since it predates me, that the ordinance as it is now written has been worked on, modified, developed, revised, da, da, da. And our impression was that it was literally right on the edge of being reviewed and approved.
I don't think the council would approve this. Let's be blunt.
Well,
No, we know.
yeah,
That's what
but that's where we sit right now. So we're sort of, I think well, I'll speak for myself. My sort of trying to read where you were coming from was that I was a little surprised that we're considering opening it up, given that it's just been basically finalized and is about to be presented to council. And I understand what you're saying, which is, I just read this and I'm not comfortable putting it in front of council, right? So I think that's where we're,
Right.
I don't want to speak out of
That's-
turn, but that's
No,
where,
100%. That's
kind of
where I'm coming from. I have no problem about discussing it more, but yeah, we were all caught off guard because we thought it was finalized. We know it wasn't approved yet, but that's what was imminent, what we were being told. So
It's really
maybe
the end of a
to say
multi-
it, like, we're just gonna chuck
multi-year
this
journey.
now and, we don't even, start from scratch. None of us were prepared to hear that.
Okay.
If maybe there's something to work with, but I really don't, I can't see any kind of wording referring to just go ahead and take it down, whatever you want to do, because
Well, so.
A little
maybe-
too loosey-goose, but
Maybe,
yeah, but I
maybe I oversimplify, but like this thing has a tree conservation officer.
Mhm.
I don't want to have a tree conservation officer. I'm sorry.
we couldn't even figure out what it was, to
What
be
the
honest.
hell is
We were trying to-
that? We don't need more.
Well, is that like Bill Brooks? Bill Brooks comes out and reviews the
Well,
tree.
He's no longer with the borough.
Yeah, he's,
I'm sorry?
He's no longer with the borough.
Oh, he isn't?
No.
Yeah, Sherry,
How
yeah.
did I miss this?
Again, part of this
Sorry.
is, there's the world that I want and there's the world that is, and I operate in the latter. And I think a big complicated ordinance isn't gonna be followed. And so see if we can simplify it. Again, balancing property rights, they are those people's trees. They own them, we don't. But we own the air and the water and the environment together. So how do you balance that?
sure.
I mean, I think of it the same way as like, you can't, there's rules on what you could do on the property that you own with the house that you're building. So this is a rule about a tree on your property too. Like, you wouldn't go and say, go ahead, build whatever house you want. I mean, we kind of do, but like, it's the same.
That's the thing is, as soon as they come and say it's a safety issue, it's like, okay.
But there's people that are not taking down trees because they're realizing that they are, violating the tree ordinance. They're not coming to you and saying, let's take this down because it's a safety issue, and they're just leaving the tree there. Because they can. If there's no boundaries there, then someone will be like, screw it, I'll just take down the tree without a thought.
I mean, we have different views of people. I don't think people operate that way.
Hmm.
Maybe the developers, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I think people that live here don't want to take down a tree unless it's a safety problem or, causing hazard.
I'm a realtor and I'm just saying some of the people that are moving down to the area have a different feeling about trees. So that is something that is on my radar. I will say it is helpful to us to know what you're thinking and what the council is enduring, which is 4 to 5 hour meetings. That's onerous. So I don't know, guys, maybe we need to just really take this next month to review the ordinance and really figure out a way to make it more palatable, and understandable. I don't, I've already said my feelings on not wanting to be a little too lax, but the long and the short of it is, if it's too onerous and they aren't comfortable with it, then we need to fix it.
I agree, we should, there's probably room to streamline it, as Jill said, get rid of some of the legalese and make it easier to understand. And then it becomes easier to enforce.
Yes.
We know there were some things in there that we didn't even know how they were going to be accomplished. We never really got clarity on the officer, the tree officer. We never really got yes, that's gonna be someone who was like Bill Brooks, who's gonna be just constantly checking up on things, or was that gonna be a part of Sherry Spiro's job, or was that gonna be a third person? We never really were told 100% what that was going to be. So I think maybe there are some things we could streamline again, but I think we're all gonna need some time, because like I said, we thought it was done. But if we could, Christie, could we possibly all get copies of
Yeah.
the ordinance the way it stands now, and we could review it and just have a better discussion, I think, and be better prepared for something that was, like I said, we thought it was, we thought it was over, we thought it was done.
I was very happy to see Bonnie wasn't here.
Yeah. Yes, because I would have been like, just you older, right? But
Mike, has
yeah.
everything. Mike?
Oh, it's a very good discussion, and Brian, thank you for bringing it to us. It's another point of view, and we always appreciate it. I think the impetus behind this whole ordinance issue, especially with the shade tree, was not because so much of the residents and the protection of their individual trees it was really because of the builders and the clear cutting, and we saw a lot of big houses going up with a lot of taking down of trees and no recompense and no replacement of the trees. I think that's where all this came from. And I agree with you. I mean, I don't really want to focus on the resident who wants to take down one tree to build a porch or a pool or something like that. I don't think that's the idea behind this ordinance. The ordinance was really to focus on these builders, as we've seen over the past 5-10 years. The other concern that I have is that we've been talking about this since I think we started talking about Chris, maybe I think fall of 2020, and here we are in 2024, and it seems like we're rolling this back again. I mean, maybe if we make it more palatable to everybody, then it'll go through quicker. But I know that a lot of work has been done, and I'd hate to unwind it and actually take this thing further and kick the can further down the road.
So is it the speed or the sort of the sunk cost?
I would say both, but yeah, definitely the speed of it, because we're going on 4 years now. And I know that the mayor wanted to make this a priority in his first campaign, and we still haven't gotten any traction. I thought for sure by now we would have had an ordinance signed and in place by the council.
So it was the first thing he gave to me, so it is a priority for him. But like I said, I got wrapped up in all this other stuff pretty quickly. But we're starting to see daylight on a lot of this. The budget is just about to be done. We're having interviews for the borough administrator. I'm not so involved with the police and DPW. But once these things clear, then I think I can look, and I want to be collaborative.
And do you want to take a stab at making it more palatable for your own view, and then we'll do the same, and then kind of cross the line? Or
Maybe I could do it in plain English.
Yeah.
And then you guys take a look at it. Again, I think the philosophy, and then we give it to the attorney and say, turn this into ordinance language.
No, I
I
like the
think that's
approach.
what we did, and that's
Sure.
what we wound up with.
But-
We started with bullet points and
Yeah, are we giving it to the same attorney?
I mean, this, yeah, but I think this, I don't want to be, I think, put it this way, if Fairhaven were a kingdom and Josh were the king, this would work,
Right,
but it's not.
yeah.
It's great on paper,
Right.
but in reality,
Enforcement was always gonna be an issue too. What do you think of it going in?
it was sort of,
It's still an issue.
It's still an issue, well, the way, but we'll. Sounds like changes are coming.
so I wholeheartely agree with, from a philosophy standpoint, in addition to the stuff I said, and it's my philosophy, maybe that will be changed. I agree with the builders, trying to capture that. I don't think legally we can separate builders from residents, but you can do it indirectly. So I agree with that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I think, what we're trying to do. You can't do it directly. It's illegal, but there are ways that you can kind of frame, which I think is what we were focused on. You could frame this ordinance to gear it more towards the clear cutting and the builders. Can't say that out loud, of course, but that's what we were thinking.
No, really. All right, so I think then, obviously, at our next meeting, what does everybody think is the best approach? I mean, time to refamiliarize ourselves with the ordinance that Brian's reviewing, and then in the meantime, you'll come up with some recommendations or the direction you want to take it in.
I'll try.
And we'll be able to have a better discussion, I think, better.
Yeah, if it's not next meeting, it'll be the next one.
Sure.
We're not meeting in April.
Oh, we're
so
not
May.
Oh, so in May I should be able to do it. I think this other stuff will be cleared up.
Okay. But yeah, Christie, again, if you could just distribute the ordinance, and in the meantime, guys, if we could just look it over again, refresh our memories. So I guess that is proposed new agenda item. That's one. Anybody else have any more?
I think the Ivy thing, the Ivy project,
Oh, yeah, the letter or door hanger.
yeah, or the
two.
committee to remove Ivy
Committee
from the
to-
residence.
Who is taking where?
Not me.
I can't hear, I'm sorry.
The what are we gonna call it? Committee
Ivy
or
Ivy
are they gonna be separate things, handouts and committee, or the handout is gonna advertise the committee? To help you take down the Ivy? Why don't we do this? I think if we first find out, Christie, if we have any of those handouts left, if we have a sizable amount, maybe we could first attack it that way. And we could distribute sample to our commissioners, and then if we wanted to carry them around, first find that out. Or do we want to approve new flyers?
Or is it that, or is it that we want to put something in like the Borough Buzz for like people who need help? You know, some sort of contact mechanism we'll work on it.
I would just have to check on like, if it was gonna be you going on private properties, there might be some insurance liability issues, like I.
I feel like
Think of
As a-
waivers would be involved,
We definitely have some waivers.
Okay.
like even though.
So, but once you guys come up with a plan, I can run it by the appropriate party.
Okay. All right.
I'm just throwing it out.
So we'll call it the, what time? So we'll call it the Flyer and Ivy Committee. What do we want to put on the agenda? What do we want to call this project? And Ivy Awareness Project? There you go.
There you go.
Way better, way better.
Are we brainstorming for the next meeting? Is that what this is?
Yeah, I think we're brainstorming, and Christie, you put my name to it, and
You put my name to it too, I'll help you, Chris.
I'll help out. I'm happy to help out.
wow, one big happy commission. Anything else? If nothing else, we'll move on to public participation.
Okay, if you have a question, please use the raise hand feature and I will bring you over. Ashley Cruz, go ahead.
Hey there, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Little
Yeah.
local.
Hey, good evening. My name is Ashley Cruz. I live in Atlantic Highlands and I am the chair of our Shade Tree Commission. I saw something kind of recently, I think came across like my Instagram that led me to a recording of one of your council meetings because I saw an agenda item, which was like tree removals, and I was like, what? So I went and watched the recording, I guess saw how your council meetings are being run and people are coming there asking if they can remove the trees. And then I heard y'all talking about an update to your ordinance, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. We are doing the same thing, trying to update ours. And then that led me to just joining in on your meeting this evening. And something else, I'm new to being the chair of our commission, and someone from Monmouth Beach, Sandy, had reached out to me from their Shade Tree Commission, and and then someone else from like Colts Neck also. But I thought it would be a great idea, and I'd love to, see if anyone from your commission is interested in it. But having like maybe a quarterly or maybe like, twice a year meeting of the different neighboring shade tree commissions. Since we all, just to, I don't know, even talk about like what's happening. Because really we live in such a great little like eco region. All of our trees are friends with each other, right? There's no like borders. Um, but if like anyone was interested in that, because again, the woman from Sandy from Monmouth Beach was totally down with that idea. Um, you know, you can let me know now or send me an email. I've also tried to, I've started an Atlantic Highlands Shade Tree at Gmail account. It's Shade Tree at Gmail, just to also provide some like legacy, content for when I'm not the chair anymore. There could just be like, stuff for everyone to know. But yeah, I'm really also happy to see, sorry, but how many of you were not, aligned with your council liaison's idea about changing your ordinance. You know, and also I'm not sure if, sorry about that. I'm not sure if y'all know, but by May 1st, 2024, we need to have our ordinance like in the works to be updated for removal and replacement stipulation, per New Jersey DEP. Did you know that?
Is that everyone?
Yes, the state needs to. We need to comply with the Tier 4 MS4,
That's
ordinance.
the webinar Nick went to yesterday, I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I joined in on that one as well. And I was, I guess definitely happy to see that they're mandating that everyone needs this, remove and replace type thing. But they said, so if someone from your administration or from your town did attend, but you can also, I can, I think you do like just search like the Tier 4 MS4, whatever the name of that webinar was. And there's like a what did I say? A liaison account, liaison. I can send someone an email. I think we have the same person for the county. Case manager. Sorry, that's what it is. A case manager, and that's the person you kind of need to like speak with and let them know like y'all are working on this. So like, I hear you're not going to have this introduced to your council by May 1st of 2024, but if you just let the case manager know you're like working on it, I think you would be totally cool and wouldn't be like penalized or anything like that for not getting with what DEP needs us to be doing. So, yeah.
I'm not aware of any deadline for an ordinance. But
I know, and I wasn't either. I think it did come through on that like Shade Tree Federation email, newsletter. I think y'all were also talking about it. Like if you get those emails that come through every once in a while. But yeah, and then I joined the webinar because I was like, oh great, model ordinance, like this is what we're working on. And then they said during it, yes, May 1st, like everyone needs to like change. I was like, wait, what? So it was definitely news to me. But yeah, tier 4 MS4 tree removal replacement, the model ordinance. New Jersey does have a model ordinance, so you could, it's very like slim, but
I've seen that, I just didn't realize it was a requirement.
So model ordinance means that they just give, this is what you do.
right.
Yeah.
It's like
Easy, there's no
2.5
Right.
pages, but I think you want more. And it's just for, it just really speaks to if you remove a tree, then this is what it is to replace it. It doesn't really talk much about exemptions, or, you know, requiring a tree risk assessment, and things of that nature. But it is a guideline to base off of that has already been vetted. Yeah. So, yeah, again, I don't mean to like have this sound like a plug, but ahshadetree@gmail. I've already started following your Instagram account.
I just saw that.
Yeah, awesome.
I just
We
followed you
have-
back. Thank you.
Okay, cool. We have a Facebook account that someone else runs. I would like to get an Instagram going, but I don't really want to be that person to do it. So, you know, need to check with everyone else on our commission. But yeah, thank you so much. And y'all put in a lot of time and effort, and I loved the organization of your agenda. So that's also what brought me here.
Ashley, thank you very much for attending, and thank you for bringing us that update on the ordinance update. We appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Definitely,
much.
no, my pleasure.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You got it. Take care.
Any other questions? Please use the raise hand feature. That is all.
All right, make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Everyone.